welcome to our first episode of the NDTV Dialogues. It's meant to be a conversation of ideas. No battles, no clashes, just different views, all of which we hope will provide different perspectives, a deeper insight into a larger idea of India. And as we mark the 66th year of our independence, tonight's NDTV Dialogue will focus on India and its contradictions, also the title of a new book by Professor Amartya and Professor Dreze. Joining me tonight on our first dialogue are Professor Amartya, Lord Meghnad Desai and Gurcharan Das. Thank you all very much for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Professor Sen, what to you is the deepest contradictions you would see in India today? I talked about us marking another year where we celebrate our independence. What for you is the most unacceptable contradiction today?
Well, not all contradictions are unacceptable,
yes.
But I think the contrast between India being a democracy, which gives us an opportunity to learn from experiences everywhere, and sometimes our deafness in not learning from these experiences in the rest of the world. Also deafness often in the contrast within India. Are we getting the right lessons? I think democracy is an enormous opportunity to do that. And in some areas we have done that well. Famine prevention, AIDS epidemic was going to make India the worst country in the world. These things haven't happened. But there are other areas when our ability to use the democratic means have been limited. I would say that is certainly, in my mind, a big contradiction.
Gurcharan Das, if you could come in at that point. When we look at different aspects of India today, some of the contradictions that have been also talked about, we look at India as a superpower, but a superpower where more than half don't have access to a toilet. Professor Sen and Dreze have talked about islands of California amid sub-Saharan Africa. What do you think is the root of this issue, and how do we address this going ahead?
Well, the root of the issue is governance. We should never mistake democracy for governance, and we have to work hard every day. Every day. Like for democracy, we have to work hard every day. We have to work hard for governance every day. Now, it's very attractive, governance in Singapore, governance in China, but we are a democracy, and that's a very prized thing for us. I think after 65 years, I don't think anybody would abandon that, even for 2% higher growth. However, you know, my talking about Amartya's book, the direction, the contradiction, we're all aware of the fundamental problem of the breakage of the delivery system. That we agree. I think Amartya's greatest contribution and why we love him so much is that, you know, he pointed out to us that education and health was so central. Now, I had frankly hoped in this book to see some answers as to how we were going to get there. And that's why, you know, in my book, Amartya, I focused on state capacity, on the reform of the institutions. Why should it take 15 years to get justice in India, in the courts? Those kinds of questions. And I feel that to be a liberal democracy, it has three pillars. You need an executive which is capable of quick, decisive action when needed. That action has to be bounded by the rule of law, and that action is to be accountable to the people. Now, we have been working on accountability, but what we haven't been working on is state capacity, and that's what keeps letting us down. And that's where I would say is one difference between us.
We have to discuss that.
But when we talk of the role of the state, because in a sense that's really at the heart of the book in many ways, we talk of the role of the state in providing, whether it's education, health, decent standard of life, food. That's what's been in so much controversy. Everybody seems to agree on what the diagnosis is, but sharp difference in the prescription. Why is it so hard to find resolution in that?
I think it is a mistake to talk about the state. You say state looks like nice, neutral, beautiful, clean thing. Let's talk about governments. Governments implement things, state doesn't implement. And in India, in my view, the biggest failure has been the political parties. Because I have worked in another political system where my party, Labour Party, had to rethink the fundamentals of its beliefs to be able to appeal to the people and survive. We had to give up a lot of our dogmas about the state and all that. We had to learn how to deliver, learn delivery mechanisms and so on. And in India, the thinking was even wider in 50s. Now it has narrowed. Everybody believes in the same thing. Nobody would disagree with Amartya that the state should play a bigger role and so on.